Hey everybody, John Sego with Texas Right to Life here. I serve as the Legislative Director for Texas Right to Life and wanted to come to you guys to give you a important legislative update. We have some exciting news of a few things that we're releasing today and over the next few days. So go ahead and like this video, go ahead and share it with your friends because we have some important legislative news for the pro-life movement, specifically in our state legislature. Now, you know Texas Right to Life has a full-time legislative team that we do the research, the writing, the lobbying for pro-life legislation. During the session, we have a full-time presence there in the Capitol. We're working with the elected officials. But now that the legislative session is over, we do a lot more research, a lot more writing, speaking around the state. And one of the most important things we do is release the legislative pro-life scorecard. And that's what we have today to release is the pro-life scorecard for how your state rep, how your state senator did during the regular session and the special session. So go ahead and like this video, share it, because I want to give you guys a breakdown of what the scorecard is and a couple of different tools that we're going to be releasing over the next few days. Now, you know, we had a regular legislative session, we had a special session. We've given you guys updates on that. A lot of you guys were engaged, helped us pass some important pro-life legislation. We have a full recap of what happened during the session, the regular and the special, on our website. You can go to texasrighttolife.com. You can see a blow-by-blow of what passed, what did not pass, what was killed at the last moment, and then what didn't even get a chance. There were several important pro-life bills that didn't even get a hearing, didn't even get a chance for the issues to be debated, some very critical pro-life issues that we'll continue to work on. But what we do have is that recap you can look at, and we wanted to point out that there were some victories because of Dan Patrick in the Senate, who passed a lot of legislation quickly. There was a lot of victories because of the Freedom Caucus in the House that kept bringing up the votes, kept bringing up the issues, pushed leadership, did negotiations to get things to the floor. And then, of course, Governor Abbott, who called the special session and told the legislature to get back to Austin to pass specific pro-life legislation. And those bills would not have passed if he hadn't held their feet to the fire, told them to get back over there and finish the job that they started in the regular session. So we do have some victories, but there is a story to be told. There are some details that maybe got swept under the rug by your elected official, and after the session, your elected official, your state rep, your state senator is coming back to you as the voter and asking for you to rehire them, to send them back to Austin for the next legislative session. And they're going to be talking about how pro-life they were. They're going to be talking about how great they did on the pro-life issue. And so we want to put a tool in your hand as the voter that you can actually compare their rhetoric to the results. And so that's what the pro-life scorecard is that we released today. Texas Right to Life released the list of scores of how your state rep, how your senator scored. And it tells the real story, because there's a lot of elected officials who are Republican who say, yeah, my number one issue is pro-life, but they get to Austin and they scored a 65%. There was even one Republican who says he's pro-life who scored a 42%. 42% pro-life is not pro-life enough for Texas. And so this is why it's so important that the pro-life scorecards are published. We're giving them to the voters. You guys can print them out, take them to the town halls, and whenever they say, I'm so pro-life, I did all this pro-life during the session, you'll have some proof. You'll say, well, what about on this one vote over this critical pro-life bill or amendment? It says you voted against it. What's your explanation for that? And then you, the voter, get to hear their explanation, get to hear their excuse, and you get to determine whether you want to rehire them in the next election and send them back to Austin. So we had 54 representatives. 54 representatives got a perfect 100% pro-life score. Did a great job. The entire Freedom Caucus is in that list. They did a great job. 20 senators got a 100% pro-life scored, and that was Dan Patrick bringing up the right bills, making sure everybody knew what the plan was to pass life-saving legislation. Great outcomes for those. There are two groups specifically that have perfect scores, and I want to highlight those two groups. First, the Senate Republicans. All of the Senate Republicans got a 100% score, and like I said, that's because of the leadership of Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. But also in the House, the entire Texas Freedom Caucus got 100%. Each member, all 12 members of the Texas Freedom Caucus got 100% pro-life score. That means even on the hard votes, even on the votes that were really testing political will, were really testing their courage at the front bike, those Freedom Caucus members stuck with the pro-life issue and would not bargain away the values that you and I care so much about, the pro-life issue. Wanted to point those out. Now, there's a lot of behind the scenes, so we have a lot of behind the scenes kind of story of these votes. So we have two more big tools coming out. First, tomorrow we're going to release, or in the next 2 days, we're going to release an additional list to kind of clarify who the good guys are and who the bad guys are. Sometimes the numbers and what looks on paper doesn't quite tell the full story. So tomorrow we're going to release a list of the 2017 pro-life heroes, a list of the guys who were actually helping the cause, leading the way, not just pushing the right button when the vote came up, but actually getting pro-life issues to the floor, actually passing pro-life legislation. So we're going to release that tomorrow, the 2017 pro-life heroes. And then on Friday, we're going to release an even more interesting list, the 2017 disappointments. So look forward to that on Friday, the 2017 disappointments. And these are people that are campaigning right now saying they're pro-life champions, but behind the scenes, they were actually hurting the cause. They actually killed life-saving legislation. So look forward to that on Friday. So we've got the 2017 pro-life heroes, we've got the 2017 disappointment list, and then on Monday is a big data drop. We're going to drop each representative, each senator gets their own scorecard release. It will be a PDF that you can print out and you can go vote by vote to see how your representative did. You can see, okay, it says they got a 90%. That sounds pretty good. What did they miss? And you can go down on the list and find out where exactly they lost their courage, where they actually don't have the pro-life values that line up with what you and I believe. So that is going to be released on Monday. Each individual legislator is going to get an individual scorecard. We'll be posting it on our website at texasrighttolife.com on Monday. And one new thing we're doing this year, it's pretty exciting, again, to give you the full story, is to have a commentary section on most of the legislators that need a little bit more context. They might look good on paper, maybe an 80, maybe a 90%. That doesn't sound too bad. We're actually going to put in that commentary section what went wrong, where they made good decisions, where they made bad decisions. Some of these legislators, they have a pretty decent score, but what you don't know is they actually filed anti-life legislation. So if that legislator filed a bill that Texas Right to Life and other pro-lifers opposed, we're going to put it in the commentary. There's not really a place on the scorecard for it other than to tell you, okay, when you go to that town hall meeting, get that PDF out and look at that commentary and say, excuse me, Representative, why did you file this anti-life legislation that Texas Right to Life opposed? Why were you voting pro-life on the floor, but behind the scenes, we're actually working for the other side? And those are the questions that we're trying to empower you guys to ask of your elected officials. So again, go to texasrighttolife.com for a summary of what happened in the session, and then go to texasrighttolife.com, our legislative scores, to see the 2017 scores. We have the lists posted, and the next few days we'll be posting a few other things, pro-life heroes and disappointments, and then all of the scorecards on Monday. So a very exciting time to be engaged pro-lifers, to see if the campaign rhetoric lived up with what our elected officials actually did. So go ahead and go texasrighttolife.com, like this video, share it for your friends to see. We want this tool to be in the hands of all the pro-life voters so they really know what they're going to be doing when it comes time for them to rehire these elected officials. So follow us on Twitter. We're going to post some more content on Twitter about the scores, highlighting different elements. Follow us on Facebook here, obviously, and then share this video so we can spread the word about these elected officials and how they did in the regular and special session. So until next time, I'll talk to you guys soon.